it's probably the size of a softball in Pepe's ass.
And I get the overhaul at Mayo. Okay, I'm not the president of the U.S. and I do executive checkups at Mayo. You're telling me that the president of the U.S. can't do the basic panels like they do at Mayo?
Exactly.
Like, explain that one to me.
Why don't you stop interrupting? Thank you.
All right, Trent's trying to get in. Let him in.
I just want to say, I brought up this cancer, and by the way, the cancer is the least of the problems. It's a fucking sideshow. It really doesn't matter. The fact that they hid the mental decline, I didn't give a fuck about the cancer, right? The fact that they hid the mental decline.
Cognitive decline.
Whatever. What the fuck everyone call it. The fact that the man didn't recognize his national security advisor and didn't know the name of his press secretary and didn't know who George Clooney was, and they were shortening stages, and that he was getting lost, and that a cabinet member met with him in January, and found him incoherent and incompetent, so they weren't having...
And he had a body double that was like a foot taller than him.
Okay, that's fucking stupid. No, he didn't have a body double.
Yeah, let's not go.
Bro, dude, did you see that? Did you see when he came out like the devil?
Okay, but you know what? I shouldn't call anybody stupid because I've been calling people stupid for 2 years, and now they end up right. So you might be right about that.
You still haven't even read that book in your PTR.
Made any sense?
Let him fit.
On January 6th.
I just want to.
Do not go in there.
Don't get sidetracked on the cancer thing. The fact that the family and the people, the inner circle surrounding him, covered this up and kept it from Democrats, not just Republicans in the American. They kept it from Democrats so that they could stay in office and keep power, is where I think the original sin was, which is why I do believe that there needs to be a full investigation. And to the auto pin, because I have questions. I don't know that he knew everything that was being signed. Because if you don't know who your national security advisor is, I don't know how you know how to pardon Jethro in Huntsville.
Yeah. So hold on. So again, did anybody understand what his Gleason score was? What? His Gleason score. So again, 9 out of 10. That shit was killing that man. And again, you know, who knows exactly what type of like this man was influenced. Like it's so crazy that people don't want to have the actual medical conversation. Like, it's weird.
Matter. The mental is the problem. Who cares about
a Gleason score on a 10-point scale? He was at a 9. At a 9.
That reverb is like
sure.
Whatever tunnel you're walking in.
What is Gleason?
That's his mansion. It's echoing.
It's not a good number, Ollie. I mean, the guy.
There's some over lives halfway up the hall.
He's basically dying.
Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna dox you.
Wow.
So.
Okay. I do have other topics I want to get to before midnight. So, anybody else want to chime in about this to kind of closing? Let's do closing comments.
Yeah, I do real quick. Let me say something quick. So you guys don't think that releasing Biden having cancer to the public would have been a security issue?
Oh
no.
Bullshit.
Oh, cool.
The same people saying that they're mad because the information wasn't put out about his medical. We have a fucking sociopath right now who's in office.
In fact, let me tell you something. In fact, hold on, because let me talk to my black man. Listen, in factation, what would have been magnificent is for Biden, if they did find out that he had cancer in October of 2023.
What the fuck does this have to do with black people? Like, this is crazy.
Let him finish.
Because he's black and I'm going to talk to him like he's black. No, hold on, baby.
Black fatigue. Black fatigue. He's black fatigue.
Talk for a minute. Let black folks talk for a minute. It's all right. What would have been magnanimous? What would have been magnanimous is for them to come out and say, "Hey, I'm dealing with something that a lot of Americans are dealing with. I'm going to be okay. I'm still here. I'm intact, but Kamala Harris is going to take a larger role in presidential responsibilities. She's going to be sitting in on meetings and taking foreign trips while we're figuring out how difficult that this for is, and setting her up to be. That's the proper way to set her up to be the next president. Not to hide it from people, not to not have a Democratic primary and then run it the past 100 days. And by the way, David Bluff, Kamala's campaign manager, said, and I quote, "The Biden people fucked us by hiding."
Yeah. So meanwhile, our former president's Gleason score is at fucking 9 on a 10-point scale.
Yeah,
so
you already said that, Adams.
Again, it's metastasized in his bones. The fuck are you talking about? Cancer bones Biden. So again, the fact that you guys wanted to offer us, cancer bone Bidens, okay? Like what the fuck is happening?
Getting ghetto with the love.
Adams, why are you in a bathroom?
Can I comment?
Go ahead,
Can
Abby.
I comment on something? So, those of you who understand why we have the 25th Amendment, how we got it, and when it came, when amendments happen and how they happen. So we had, and I put this in the chat. Woodrow Wilson, for the last year of his presidency, had a stroke. He stayed in bed. He didn't come out of bed. He never met with his cabinet. He didn't meet with his advisors. His wife met with everyone. His wife went to his bedroom. All of a sudden, executive orders were signed that were completely different than the way he ran his government up until when he had the stroke. And there was a true belief that the wife ran the last year of his administration. Fast forward to FDR, who we have 3 terms with, who gets infirm, gets sick, and obviously you know the whole story of dying in office and unable to perform his duties as very ill as a president. Then we have JFK, who we loved him dearly, but he had illnesses. He had Addison's disease. He was heavily medicated. There were issues with JFK. Fast forward, we get an amendment to our Constitution. It's a big deal to get a freaking amendment. It doesn't just get passed by Congress. You know the procedure to get an amendment. That this can't happen again. We cannot have a country at risk when someone's in office that's ill or infirm, and there has to be a procedure to remove him. They also wrote that amendment with the understanding that it couldn't be done by a coup. You couldn't remove someone just, it's very complicated to enact that amendment. There's many procedures you have to go through for the amendment to happen. If you understand what I'm saying, so in order to protect us, that it's not a coup that could take over the government.
Yeah, there are many different steps.
Yes, Marshall knows a lot more about this than I do, but there's a reason that we have that law because we've had a history of it in our country. And I go back to Woodrow Wilson, and you tell me if Dr. Jill wasn't doing the same frickin' thing.
I just want to say one last thing real quick before we get off this subject. And please don't let anybody step on the joke. I just wanted to say that the Biden family are very, very close to the Bush family. And Marshall's family is very, very close to the Bush family. So we can't take anything that Marshall says as being serious. We have to just ignore everything Marshall says from now on.
So, actually, I forget what I was going to say.
Okay, I did that intentionally. I am not a punching bag. I am not to be picked on. If you do that shit, I'm going to throw you out the fucking room.
Yeah, just on that one.
Oh, come on.
I wanted to add.
No. I have gotten that treatment from people on the right-hand side of Clubhouse for 4 years. If people want to make me the center of attention, then I'm going to do something. And what I'm going to do is make sure they can't be a part of the conversation. When people I know who have genuinely joked with me about it are happy to be part of the conversation, say like Abby, she jokes with me. I know she doesn't mean it seriously, but I'm not a fucking punching bag, and I'm not here to be picked on. And if you do, well, I'm moderator, there will be consequences.
Can you comment on what I said, Marshall, on the history of this, of removing someone when they're infirm?
Yeah, you missed Reagan, but yes, you're right.
Hey, I thought that was a good joke. Come on.
Reagan did not get Alzheimer's while he was in office.
Right.
Someone wants to correct me on that, but that did not happen while he was in office.
I got kicked for a joke. Come on.
So you got kicked because it wasn't funny.
It is, but because it's true.
I've been. Dude, you were poking at me. If you want to talk to me, that's fine.
Marshall.
Jesus Christ.
Marshall, all the shit don't remove people.
You're giving off leftist energy, Marshall.
So I've been hating on Trump a lot lately, but I have to say that I was looking at her article about Joe Biden last night. She is pathologically ambitious. She is responsible for much of this. There is no reason to actually, to Abby's point, I didn't think about the cosmetic surgery. This guy has access to the best medical care. And what happened when something's amiss. As a senator, he had access to the best medical care. JFK knew he had Addison's disease in 1947, right? There is no excuse, and this is alarming to me. I'm worried about my own health care, quite frankly, because I'm like, Jesus Christ, how is it that they missed that, right? Because now it has metastasized, and maybe he's had it for 5-10 years. But how come it wasn't treated when they initially diagnosed it, and how come he didn't get the best access to gold standards in care, best practices? So that's one thing.
He probably was treated.
Well, he was treated, but the question is, wow, there are people with access to medical care that should be able to ward off a death by prostate cancer, given the resources.
If you look at some of the pictures of his hands, there's IV plugs in his hands.
Okay, well, that may be, but the point is, regardless of what care he got, his wife should have said, hey, look, this is a great time to step out. You will be dignified if you leave now, right? Trent, there is no reason. She had to have been the one to push him, because the family could get together in an evening and say, look, Dad, you're in bad shape. Let's worry about your health care. There is no reason that he should have been put in that predicament. I used to think that I'll land here. I used to think the elder abuse thing was kind of a joke and ridiculous for people to say. Now I'm like, holy shit. She put our country in harm's way.
Elder abuse for years, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, I blame Joe Biden first and foremost.
How can you blame him? You have this man that's.
No, I said Jill. I blame Jill Biden first and foremost, because her first thing is to protect her husband. The man's done everything in office. He was the youngest senator. He's been in office 50 fucking years, right? There was no need for him to run for a second term. This was always supposed to be a one-term presidency, as we knew it. He was going to be a transitional president, and to pass the torch to Kamala. But the hubris and the arrogance and thinking that I'm the only person that can possibly beat Donald Trump, and that's what the book details. I've got the book, and that's what the book details. It says that their calculus in the White House was Biden was the only possible person that could beat Trump. Kamala would get beat up in a primary, and it was going to be a shit show, and that he was the best person to keep this existential threat out. In fact, it says that his decline got worse. I see you down there, Patty. His decline started. Everybody started to notice in the summer of 2023 when Hunter Biden's plea deal was revoked, and that's when everybody started to notice. But by October, late fall of 2023, that's when they started hiding it from essentially the cabinet, the public, and even in other senators. And that I believe that it's a tragedy for the country, and it deserves a full investigation.
I did hear Jake Tapper's. He had a video. Where he was with I forget who was interviewing him. I forget the name of this woman.
Megyn Kelly, you're talking about, I think.
No, it wasn't Megyn Kelly.
The NPR interview.
Very well. It was like on video. It's a.
Tapper is such a low life.
Okay, it was like Couric. I don't know who the fuck is talking.
Necro, come on, man.
Necro. By the way, Holly's gonna make a topic change in a second here. But go ahead.
So I would just say this: like what he was saying is that it was his opinion. This is Jake Tapper's opinion. Is that Hunter Biden actually had a lot more pull than people would like to believe, and he also made some accusations. I know that he, after Bo, his older brother, died, he started seeing his, his sister-in-law, and apparently he got her hooked on crack too, which, it's not, I don't want to focus on that, but I mean, it was just like very bizarre shit. And so, there's a lot of questions I have, and which I obviously don't have answers to.
All right, I want to move on. That was a good discussion, but this is a really sad story, y'all. I don't mean to bring the night down. We won't end here, but I did want to talk to you guys about this for a second and see what you guys thought. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but there's a situation going on here in Georgia where this young woman, 30-year-old mother, it's so sad. So she's brain dead. She's being kept on life support. She had a medical emergency. I don't know the full details of how she became brain dead, but she's also pregnant. And unfortunately, she was past the 6-week ban, time frame of pregnancy when she became brain dead and put on life support. And the situation is this: the AG, which is Chris Carr, I believe, has told the hospital that there's no legal reason in our in this 6-week ban and in our state legislation in the verbiage of any kind of why they need to keep her on life support just to keep the baby alive. I guess that's his interpretation of the law, and he is the Attorney General. Now, the hospital and their attorneys feel like, I guess their stance is it's too vague, or they feel like it's there is some questions, it's a gray area, and so they are keeping this woman on life support. Now, her family, her mother is basically saying, we wish we had the choice. So it sounds like they are not being given the choice, that the hospital is basically saying, no, we have to keep her on life support to try to bring this baby to term. And the chances of this baby surviving may be slim. The baby may be blind. The baby may be this, that, and the other. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? This is a tough one for me.
So does the AG have... Isn't it the family's decision?
Well, apparently not, according to the hospital. They're the ones that, and I don't know if they have the control of, like, can we move her to a different hospital that will go along with the AG if they chose to, pull her off of life support?
Well. Let's say the quiet part out loud. The fallout of single black motherhood. Your baby daddy does not have the same say as, anybody else. It is what it is.
I'm not sure if there is a father in the picture, because I haven't heard
black woman.
Oh, there's definitely a father. I mean, she's pregnant. There's definitely a father.
I'm just saying, I've only heard the mother in the news, so it seems as though I don't
right.
And
how far pregnant is she?
Let me shut up.
I think she has 20 more weeks to go, Dawn, and that's why this is such a painful situation, because the mother is like, they're basically just watching. It's a horrible situation, and they just have to kind of wait. Oh, and the other part is I don't know.
They have a life inside. She has a life inside of her, right?
True.
If people are so against abortion, right? Why the fuck would you pull the plug on that woman with that living baby inside?
Right.
That pisses me off. That right there. If she is not going to live fine, I'm not fine, but you know what I'm saying. But the next point is the baby can still survive, right?
Right. Maybe. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It is an odd situation, though, right? Because I mean, you're basically keeping a woman that is brain dead alive in the hopes that that the baby will survive. Whereas before 6 weeks, had this happened, then they would have terminated. I don't know. I mean, I think if I were her, I would want them to keep me on the life support in the hopes that my baby would survive. She doesn't get to have a choice, period. So it's up to her family, I suppose. But isn't it strange that the AG is telling them, like, wouldn't the AG trump the doctors? Couldn't they, like, I mean, Abby, you're an attorney, like, can't even if something came back on them liability-wise, couldn't they say, well, look, the AG told us this? Isn't the AG kind of, the arbiter of the law in the state?
Well, the statutes are going to be the law in the state. I mean, unless the AG issued like an opinion. But, I mean, yeah, paint that for me. Tell me exactly what you're thinking, because it would be relying on what the law is, unless there's a mistake of law. But it doesn't sound like it.
I mean, AG versus attorneys for hospital wouldn't. Even if something came back to them, say they were sued or say, the law tried to come down on them, couldn't they say, well, the AG told us or wrote it in writing or whatever? Can't they just say, like, here's the paper trail, like, we're protected. This is what we were told was appropriate.
I want to eat some pussy.
Okay, that was weird. I mean, Holly, look, there's going to be a statute in the state. There's going to be law in the state. The AG doesn't make laws, and he enforces it, or he prosecutes on behalf of the state. But, he can issue opinions. It can be opinions out of his office. So if they're relying on an opinion, on an interpretation, but he's not a court either. I don't know if that answers you.
Yeah, I guess this is where, and it's not just for this issue, but where we're seeing a lot of these abortion bans and regulations go into effect, and you have these tragic stories where someone is not given the medical treatment and they died, and the hospital basically claims, they're confused about the law. I guess that's where what I'm getting at.
That's like when that kind of thing happens, and it's interesting because you can request to get an opinion. If to try to understand how you're supposed to then proceed, because you don't have an active court case. It's not like you're not litigating anything, but you can go and request an opinion on the law if that, when there's a confusion as to how you're supposed to proceed under the law.
Well, that's all well and good when you have a timeline. When you have a runway to work with.
They didn't have the time.
This case, they have. I'm a little confused why they're not doing that. But, like, some of these situations, yes, it's like the time is of the essence. And it seems like they're scared to take action in some cases. I don't fully understand. But that seems like what's happening in some of these situations where the women have died because they are not being given the proper care. And I don't know if the hospital attorneys are, like, scared. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, yeah, because, essentially, when you see somebody, like, who is a threat to life, you don't see, like, that they have a 70% chance of living, you have a 25% chance of living, like, specifically, it's like, there's no sort of certainty, like, so the vagueness of essentially saying what it is a threat to your life, is a slippery slope, so, and doctors essentially are afraid is, like, if this is something that, where she was bleeding on the floor or something like that, would it mean that, I would be charged with murder because there's a chance that the life of the unborn could have been saved?
Okay. All right. Well,
yeah, Holly and I are married, so we don't accept messages from random men on the internet. Okay, don't back channel us unless we're friends. Thanks.
All right. Did anyone else?
I'll stop hitting on you then, Dawn.
I I don't accept like random solicitations from men on the internet. That's why I'm trying to hold Rich accountable. Rich is a married man. He should know better. Shame on Rich. Shame on Rich.
Oh my God, Adams, I've sent you stuff on the internet.
Yeah, but I mean, Abby, you're beautiful, gorgeous, and you're not a married man. So again, I mean, we're holding men accountable, and I'm sticking to it. It is what it is. These men need to be held accountable. I'm sorry.
Are you jumping to the faggotry again, Adams?
Oh, here it goes. Here it goes.
Actually, hold on, Adams.
Here it goes.
Back channeling Marshall.
Here it goes. Here it goes. Oh, so now you like redheads. So now you like redheads. That's crazy.
We were talking.
No, Rich and I were actually having an interesting discussion. It's okay.
Yeah, but then I heard Adams talking, and I knew he was going to the faggotry again.
Yep. So now Rich likes redheads. It is what it is. You know, it is what it is.
Move on and lighten this up now.
We can move on. We can move on. We can definitely move on. Rich, respect your marriage and respect the fact that, you know, I hold actual self-respect. So again, Rich, just let it go. Rich, let it go.
I find it to be a disservice to your community, Adams, that you cut your nose off.
Just let it go, Rich. Just let it go.
All right, let's move on. All right, this is the other thing I wanted to bring up. So get this. So 70 Democrats, Georgia Democrats, walked out of the House, refused to vote and do their job. And the reason that they walked out was because there was of Georgia who wanted sex changes. That's really what it came down to. That might not be how they're reporting it, but that's what an insider in the House told me is what really happened. So what do you guys think about this? Like, this is wild to me. I think this is a winning issue on the Democrat side, this whole, like, inmates, you know, using government funding to fund their sex changes. So I just think it's bizarre that they're still, like, bleeding down and doing shit like this. And also I was told, like, this is unheard of in the Georgia House. Like, this type of theatrics don't really happen. Like, this is kind of weird, you know, drama, like, clickbaity. And it was sort of out of turn, like, not normal, even for
Adams. So, like, she's offline.
So, like, way out of tradition. That is interesting. At least they didn't do what they did in Texas. This happens. This happened twice.
Holly, I'm gonna move myself down, okay? Because I'm gonna say some very, very, very damning things to a married man. That again is like this is insane, like absolutely fucking insane.
Adams is watching tranny porn.
Okay, so in Texas, we had this happen twice. Once in the early 2000s, when the Republicans in Texas first gained control of the chamber, in early 2001 or 2, Democrats got on a plane and flew to Oklahoma. And luckily, Tom Ridge, who'd been a Texas House representative, was Homeland Security Secretary. Perry called Tom Ridge. Tom Ridge called the president. The president authorized Tom Ridge to use Homeland Security to get the tail number of the plane and hauled all the Democrats back to Texas. And then about 5 years ago, Democrats got onto a bus and left the state capitol. So it sounds like this is twice for Texas, once for Georgia, and it seems like it is for East Coast states way out of the norm to do that. They seem to hold more former British traditions in their state houses than states like Texas do.
Marshall, did something else happen when they got on that bus the 5 years ago? Like,
yeah, there was something with beer. Somebody brought some pot, and then there was like one other thing that I'm forgetting. But we did like the state troopers went and got them back, I think.
How did that woman, what landed her in the hospital? Do we know anything about her diagnosis? Or Did you post the article?
I'm sorry, I pulled it down because we're on to this next topic, but
It's okay. You're in the Matrix, honey.
You're in the Matrix, Holly.
You're in the submarine.
Hey, BT.
You kind of low, PT. What did you say?
Good evening, y'all.
Hello.
Hello, BT.
Well, hello, BT.
What's up, BT?
Alright, so yeah, good job for them. They finally are done being stupid. So
Hey, what's up, faggot?
what's up, faggot?
Hey, Ann. What's up?
Good evening, eh?
What's going on? They can make everyone laugh.
I mean, you give me good reason why I made a good choice to add you to the friend
Oh my god, Necro, your voice is just so insufferable. When are you gonna change it?
Yeah.
It's always like whiny and just down, and I hate my life.
What, man?
Yes, I hate my life.
Necro.
Yes,
And
I
I'm
hate
an
my life.
atheist. Life's good though.
Adam supports a Leon X.
Yes, I am unforgivable.
I actually know Necro quite well. His voice belies his cheery interior.
Yeah, on the inside, I have a lot of happiness.
Necro's drawing is an accurate representation of his size, too. He's like 110 pounds.
Yeah, that's true.
By the way, I would say, Holly, as somebody who would make rooms all the time and doesn't make them anymore, you did a pretty good job. You had your topics. You even moved on to them. And, I'm just saying, like, you did a very good job for some, at least in my experience, this was your first time making, like, a room. You did a very good job. So, bravo.
Thank you.
This is great. Can we do this like on a regular basis? Could you get in the habit of it? Because this was excellent.
I'll try. I'm just, I'm busy. I know you are too. We're all busy, right? Like, I just couldn't take it anymore, Abby. I was just bored to pieces in some of these rooms. I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna do it. I can't handle these rooms anymore.
Well, Holly, you did great.
I missed it. Damn it.
And Adams, you did terrible, like usual.
Why do you have a crush on Adam?
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Ann. Like, this is uncomfortable. This is a married man.
Adams has been
This
told
is
these for the last
literally
week, so
a
don't
married
troll him.
man. Like, this is crazy.
He's like, Adams, pick me.
Adams, I invited Aaliyah in. She's not online right now. She's been off for 22 hours. Damn.
Pick me.
Adams, that's your pick.
What? You know what? Rich is trying to get some type of Diddy party going on up here.
Adams is like, click on Aaliyah's Twitter, and I'm like,
Don't give them
no.
what they want. Don't give
And Aaliyah's like, don't click on my Twitter, it's gay train porn. And I'm like, yeah. How did you know this, Adams?
We're friends.
How did you know it was tranny porn, Adams?
This is some like Brokeback Mountain, like Forrest Diddy shit. Like, I feel like you're putting like some shit in my baby oil. Like, this is weird.
You're the one watching Aaliyah's X account, bro. You're telling me, click on it, bro. And I'm like, no, I'm good.
Who's Aaliyah?
6'4",
Are you talking
black
about
trainee.
the singer that died?
No, a 6'4", big black dude trainee.
These trainees got.
And Adams is like, click on Aaliyah's X. I'm like, no, I'm good. I knew something was up.
Hold on a second. So Adams, are you talking about Aaliyah, the singer that died in like the early 2000s?
He doesn't.
No, it's a 6'5" trainee on Clubhouse.
No.
Big, like 350 pound, 6'5" black dude.
Pepe, listen. This man.
Pepe, he's gonna tell you to go check out Aaliyah's X account.
This man
Send the X account over to Pepe.
It's crazy.
Pick me.
You're the one following me around, Adams.
How you doing, Princess?
I came in here because freaking Pepe's in here.
You I my own business.
Okay, was it literally? Was this about Aaliyah, the one that died in the early 2000s, or not?
Oh my God, you're
No,
autistic.
no, it was not.
Oh, come on, Gunny.
Ollie, jump in. Ollie's got something.
All right, I got a new topic. All right, this one's a little more salacious. So, white flight, I get it now. All right.
Wait, more salacious than Adam.
What about black fatigue? Fatigue? Let's talk about black fatigue.
I guess that is salacious.
Ollie's doing her first room. Hey,
fatigue.
Adams, let her do. It's her first room. Let her pick the fucking topics, bro.
Oh, it's Holly's room. That's what I thought. Okay, good job, Holly.
This isn't even about black and white, y'all. I finally think I get the whole white flight thing, though. It's weird. It's a weird feeling when, like, the demographics of a community, even just like a neighborhood, change so quickly, right? Like, I noticed a neighborhood in my area that is very largely white, and this neighborhood, like, seemingly overnight became largely Indian. And I see also a ton of homes for sale in that neighborhood. And it's nothing against Indians, right? Like, they're cool.
Wait, like Indians or like foot cooking ass Indians?
Dots or feathers?
Dots.
Okay,
India,
so
dots.
It's even more fake
cooking
now.
ass Indians.
So, like, it's nothing against the individual.
Hey, tell me where that neighborhood is. I'm gonna move there.
Shut the fuck up. It's nothing against the individual. Their culture's cool, but it is a weird feeling when, like, overnight your kid becomes the minority, right? And when they weren't before, and, like, the vibe is different, right? Their culture's different. Like, it's not the same vibe. And so I think maybe, is that white flight? Is that like the vibe is just off, and you're like, I don't like it. Like, nothing against the individual. It's just, it's not like my culture anymore. It's weird.
I'm just saying, if the blacks move in, move out. If the Indians move in,
I'm
move
going to answer
in.
you. If you look at, like, East Coast cities, there's, like, sort of a historical trends on how people move. And some ethnic groups take off and they move farther and farther into suburban areas. And